singing. A guy came behind me. Me quite a name, but a friend Marcus, Ojinamechi, and I met to sa and we say fresh, cool and the gun. That time when I was a kid, conversation is going round. People talking about the girls who came to town, lovely ladies. I was singing, me who say so I just looked back and there was this man, a Rastafarian, standing there. He said, Charlie Ofori. I was brought up in a village, like, in the Ashanti region, Agogo, in Ashanti region. It was quite not a big population, but we had farms and villages that we would go to when I was a child. And that was where I discovered, myself, and I discovered that I had a talent to sing. It was quite, an unusual, childhood, not too dramatic, not too much drama, but I quite remember that Ofori Amponsah started, just writing music, mimicking Michael Jackson and, the big stars. Around 1984, I was around 6 years or 5 years. So Ofori Amponsah, yeah, we mean 1974, 2nd March, Right now, me but me kai my childhood, and I said me bring I started early, recording and then singing and mimicking great singers such as Michael Jackson. In fact, my mom was a teacher, so her influence on my life a big great. My papa also was somebody who was very strict. A friend of mine, Georgina Ofori, and my papa also JK Ofori. I think so what I took from them as a child, especially my father, was being on time, waking up early, sleeping early, and my mom. So what I got from her was reading books and stuff, which I think they influenced me writing of music. The very first book I made kind of Cinderella. I went to my mom's school, or child there, so me call her book, I thought it was interesting, quite interesting. And me shared drawing I didn't know much about books at that very early stage, but me far book now, me Buffy, that was the first time I started even reading from the book. So my first reading, the book that I read first was Cinderella, due to me mommy her influence. Now I call after school vacation, we'll go to a village, like a farm. My father had a farm, so most of the time, instead of people say engrophobia or back crabby, I had to go on the farm, and that was where my music and everything shot up. That was when I was musically aware, say I had the gift to to sing. So I would sit down under a tree, my packing kolani, my shishin to a konko near there. Then I might say that me a drummer, I'm playing a drum, and then I'll be singing. One day, as I was under a tree singing, a guy came behind me. Me quite a name, but a friend Marcus, Ojinamechi, and I met to sa and we say fresh, cool and the gun. That time when I was a kid, conversation is going round. People talking about the girls who came to town, lovely ladies. I was singing, so I just looked back and there was this man, a Rastafarian, standing there. He said, Charlie Ofori, so he came closer and said, how many years are you? And I'm saying, me, I think that time I was about 8 or something. And I said, do you know what you have? Let me say, I don't know. I said, your voice was so far away. And I thought, say, a penny voice. But I came closer and I saw, say, hey, you are a kid. Do you know what you have? I said, no, you are a star. I said, wow. So I did, come to the house and call the fee. When I went to the house and I continued to go to his house, I think that my mommy wasn't so happy. Only Rastafarian, and then guess what shit you cry. I shall also be shit be near there. But I was so interested in what he was teaching me. I went to him, pick a guitar, and then he would tell me to just create. I said, like, I can't create anything. He said, just concentrate and create something. What is inside you? What do you want to say? What do you want to talk about? So, time I say for menko, then I'll round to him a baby guitar. And then one day I said, oh, many baby, something just came, say then, and you my friend Liberty. That time now the Rastafarian system, very hot in Ghana. Afa Blondie, no more I hate it. So I wrote that first song, Liberty, when I was about like 12 years. In fact, from 8, 9, 10, 11, now every day, I'll go to him. I'll just like study how to write songs and stuff. And so my first ever song that I wrote, Village Hall, was this Liberty song. And I don't actually remember the lyrics now, but it was my first attempt at writing a song. So I think Marcus was a very great influence on my life when it comes to music, because he made me aware. He told me class literature when I got to your friend say secondary school. He told me to pursue literature because he thinks that I have a gift of music and writing and stuff. Because every day as a kid, I'll just like pick my book and be writing it, and so that was how my childhood was. Brim said I quite remember say I'll just like walk sometimes 20 miles to get to the next town, and everywhere be Ofori Amponsah will be this guy will be either like singing or just writing. One day, after doing my demos, I'll just like go into a room. I'll do a demo, go into the room, and I'll be singing. And as I was, dancing to one of the songs I'm actually friend Odo Ankasa Ankasa. So I was like, Odo Ankasa Ankasa na me woman, and my sister Simija, you are not almost me, and they'll be looking at me and they'll be laughing. And so I'm saying, now what being says our song we are actually can compete one day, compete with the big artists. And then it just like fell into my spirit. And no, then I have to do music every day, up to. So I started listening to Kojoinchi, that Lumba. That Lumba was like that time. Nothing was fresh. I think it's in 1989. I was in primary school, still in primary school at that time. So that I started listening to that Lumba and Kojoinchi, and then Amachi. They did the best. Those times, they were the best around. So that was how I started doing thinking about Highlife music. But I started with reggae, liberty and stuff. So it's quite interesting. And my time I'm back secondary school, so trying to bring my music. One day me mama sending me sika as me go to my fees and I kind of say my registration, and we drew Konongo. I was so much into my music, thinking I was just dreaming. Say one day Nakamanyeska, the first place I will just go is the studio, and me free. I go Eko Konongo was about 15-minute drive, and the dream and say me denyeska. So me free car no see station where then I saw a man, a little guy, and last week send a boy was 35. minus 5 as almost 30. The following week, say boy almost 30. Then I started doing this. Charlie, I come and do to record. I mean, a childhood, you know, a year and a dream, but lot of guy, you know, instead of this kind of back school, no, I just took it to him and said, Charlie, double this money for me so that I can, you know, it was a stupid idea. And then we signed this kind of half echo recording. You won't believe it. Lot of number recording and so was in the room. Now me having my mate in a way say, Scout, there's mom say, me fan go to your school fees. I'll just go to a studio, a church studio, people playing live band and say record for me. So my first experience of music came around 1992. Like 1992 was the first time I recorded with a band, a church band. Now I recorded Odom Refie. Like that was my first ever demo. You know, Odom Refie, Odom Refie, Odom Refie, Imagine. So that was something about my childhood. I was so stubborn, you know. I don't know. That music made journey free school. On a Friday, piano. Omu either some Michael Jackson and I saw Omu Tina Turner and I Omu. So Friday, me say me back school. Monday I bebo me, but I will just run. Go to the place, listen to the music, see how they are dancing and stuff. I think that was also a very big influence on my career because I started listening to powerful voices, you know, Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Commodores. I listened to everything, and that was how, you know, I grew up. My childhood was like, this was the guy. This is what I wanted to do. I was 8 and 9 and 11, but this was what I started doing, writing my music and stuff. Yeah. Ofori Amponsah by Accra quite early, 1984. I was in class 4. Me make a funny thing which I catch him say. Me class because me na media class no media Becca 3 na marry when I started class 1. So class 4, class 3, I started improving. And so class 4, I no promise him say meet me edit 1 to 6 or the me back. And so my position for that class 4 was 6 years. So 1984, and you know, me back for the first time. I went to Harrow International for some time, and then St. Lawrence in Tesano, you know, around Abeka. So I went there for like maybe 2 or 3 years, and then went back to Ago. When I'm a common entrance. Unfortunately, me and you have say so. Me go. And so I got into Conwood Master's Secondary School. So I got to Conwood Master's Secondary School. I heard all the drama started. I heard Ofori Amponsah. You know, when I got to Form 3, I just told my mom, said, Uni, I've had this, you know, enough of this education. Form 3 is enough. I can write, I can read, I can do anything. So the next thing is to pursue my music. So he had to send me to Amachi Dede, you know. And so Amachi was also an advisor. He advised me to finish school, and then after school, he will see what he can do for me. In school, Ofori Amponsah was entertainment. Everything I do was entertainment. So, me do English class, mathematics, I won't go. Entertainment, I'll be there, you know. So, even me say my O level. O level, they could results. No. Students na almost school and say, Ofori Amponsah bejo rap, Ofori Amponsah bejo music, you know, because everybody thought say like I'm a failure, like I'll fail. But you know, now me this thing I read a lot. I read the books a lot. So I think say and then boy me O level, enipa 24 no. Ofori Amponsah I can't be a NIPA 24 in one out of 200 and something students. So I got a scholarship to 6th form. And so, but that time, you know, Now, because I may lose a bit of my love for education, kakra, I was so much into the music. I was so much every day into the music. I'll be writing. I quite remember I'll be sitting now in a dining hall. Instead of reading a book, I'll just be writing. One day, girl, be a nice girl. Listen, I'm a very shy guy. I couldn't even talk to a girl. So all my thing was writing music. So this girl comes in and school. I said, what are you writing? Are you writing something? I'm so just music. I said, really? So me no, I catch it that conversation. Busa and the or say friend Jane. Oh no, I'm Jenny. Oh Jenny. Oh don't insara ho to me kumonipa. Oh don't running more. That was that girl. So that girl came in and said like, hey, if you're a writer and a musician, Charlie, put all your mind and your heart to it, and then you can make it. But I didn't even know that time I have to put my heart and my mind to something. So she was my best friend in school. Jane became my best friend in school. And as we were, every day going to the dining hall, studying together, and then the name afraid teacher be Odenchem in the school. Odenchem, so I don't know, so Odenchem interested in Jane or whatever was going on. But sometimes he would just like come to the room and say, Ofori Amponsah, hey, me you with you. I thought it was like a joke, One day, I came back from school to Accra because that time when that audition be in Accra, I think it said Showtime. It was called Showtime, and Showtime that time, Showtime. So when I met Kwame Sefakan, the first time I met Kwame Sefakan was at the audition because it would be an opportunity to shine. So I went there and I sang my song. Jane was my song, so I sang Jane. But unfortunately, one family, they can't say audition. But girl be a meme boy, a friend is Selena Owens. So Selena no more selected to sing at the National Theatre. Fine. So I had to back her. Into me journey free school now, me back here now. TV no omo any. But that time now I share that lumba. And within 2 weeks, that lumba gave me a contract. The story of that lumba will come later. But he gave me a contract and I ran away from school to record the songs. That time I'm very recording, that was the time they showed that audition on GTV, and GTV was big. Everybody was watching the GTV. Unfortunately, that day was a Saturday. Entertainment prefect was not there. They had to watch TV. Problem. So I was the entertainment prefect, and I wasn't there to do a program, so they had to watch TV. And you saw TV now, entertainment prefect, regional TV, so singing, school hall, hey, superstar, yeah. So school hall, everybody was shouting. So the headmaster came out from the residence to ask her, commotion even there, because I'm saying tapi about TV, so why need tapi? Ofori Amponsah, and I was so quiet. Headmaster didn't know anything about me, like in the school. Even though I was the entertainment prefect, he didn't know. So where is Ofori Amponsah? Ofori Amponsah is out of the school. Okubusa house, senior house master. Ofori Amponsah je ex-yat no ko fear na. I see. Your name because your B school is just 2 weeks, so your ma ex-yat 2 weeks. Then that's just my journey, It's not just say sending me message or then chim sending me message, Say send catch us me you ready. You say oh ba pack your number there. When me mama so a teacher ni had to beg the headmaster, Eddie, Pacho, I call it this is the first time. Headmaster no FM I say Papa we friend on concert. Uncle feel on concert. Mr. Amponsah, I don't know, like maybe but I thank you so much because like you gave me the power, you pushed me on That time was a terrible time for me, but I didn't know, say, you were prophesying on me, you know. So Ofori Amponsah became the concert man today. So that's, I mean, part of me school, you know. Obianim Ofori Amponsah for, you know, the music, the rap. In fact, I started rapping in school, you know. It wasn't music. In school, rap became the norm. You know, that time then you OPP, I can explain, you know, that time they hate it. So everything was rap. It wasn't like actually singing. So one day we had a competition in school, and the competition was like a rap competition. So the entertainment prefect I was the main man behind the whole thing. And then we'll be a rapper, we rap our uncle. So now I come in it, guy, my friend is Swazi B. So we were there, Charlie. Now, me did me rap scene. Yo, this your man, Mr. All for real. You know, that kind of rap. But at there, me realized it back when I said, Swazi B, Ebano. Instead of like, obey rapper to send me OPP near there, I don't know. The guy started rapping in G. Odo you makuma mutofe only kwa hina ope ede na ope the guy just the lyrics na quality bano. I was like after school, yeah, you know, said that's the day I stop a rap music, because I actually knew rap music was not for me. So Swazi B, so baby I will be a Swazi B was a man or my imagine band said no, they have to keep on writing, you know, songs. Like I have to sing rather than rap. So that day I just changed my mind, because the fans now can't see what stages, you know, that day, you know, or killing stage, you know. So I mean that was my school, my secondary school days. What I was doing Ofori Amponsah was music. I would just like, you know, be into the music. But I'll come back a bit as to who Ofori Amponsah is. I never give up. I will just like walk time now. Me demo we headmaster say where you made. I'll just take my demo. I wasn't doing anything. Just walk around for somebody to just listen to me, to my songs. I'll go around and my daily routine. Accra my daily routine. Make me a coffee. Abeka. Ako. You can say Accra is a normal day for me. Anywhere we are person Ofori Amponsah and run it to, I'll just go. I'll walk around. With sorry, no panami did you. I'll walk around. Try. Say me who say, yeah, throw maybe to say, you kind of say music store. I'll just come in, just go inside. Ask Charlie, I have this music. Oh, just listen. Some people will listen. They will just tell me, oh, maybe go to Unimit or somebody else. I had the opportunity, you know, when I didn't see with my headmaster and I was out of school for a time. I got time to take my music around. So one day, me will pass or around, walking around, trying to find some. Me need that swing answer, because every day I just like pick my demo and just walk out. Then me call me who said music at show baby music store. Na me rem. To be rem na me demo man. Charlie. Person obo me demo you now na so bit me will be over me. And the guy listened to the songs. Or tisa also when I told you say I say Charlie, this is a powerful song. Fako that lumba ho. That lumba I'm saying, I can't remember that lumba. So that lumba, I said that lumba ba or boy young guys. So you can try your luck there. So me share me bottle me coins na me say me coins no I short kakra for the day. So I calculated my coins and so me called down. So I took my song there, knocked on the door, and gave my demo to the guy. No, see that lumba ba obeti. So the following day, early in the morning, I just went there, sat behind the gate. I was waiting. Behind the gate, there was this guy out. Hey, now Ofori Amponsah also don't know more say. And I'm saying, I look at me the bad obo Charlie. Baby fa, Papa we omo obo. So he was just shouting. Oh, did he tell me that day? Oh, you lumba until you want. We lumba the family cassette me for. I'm going go business and say Charlie. E dey na that lumba na yo. What Jimmy cassette? Na so dey dey ba na. Charlie pe baby fa. Share omo. Na me jam na be share ni din. So me share ni din for some time na e dey na cassette here there. Bread. And okay na the business say why no Ofori Amponsah? I'm saying yeah. So that lumba so so home. So I went inside. Na oyi like obi baba na like immediately one kasa who me one kasa I say Charlie papa you my enemy I don't say me back no right inside. So he right inside. Na imagine say obi a year baba a day a year can say Caesars no catch say Charlie train I'm coming. Right inside he comes out with an envelope. 5 million. Hey! Charlie, 5 million Ghana. That time, 5 million, kind of 5 million. So, like, and then 500 Ghana cedi. Those times. Oh, dear, mommy. Because that time, mommy, and she, dollar cry was like 30, imagine 30 cedi. So, Obima of 500, amount bear $3,000. Handing me say me fan ko demos. I am a star. He just looked at me, say, get this, ko demos, Afabra. You are a star. You become like me. I'm like, what is this? Obi a man 3 years. Me demo cheese. Is it? Ra. Me free wa. Just say, no say, ko nyom for bra. I'll produce you. Also the last thing. Me bag Ghana has say me tie I wanted something. I wanted a voice. And I think say you have a different voice. So I went out because the cabe 3,000 in the kutamina eshim. Me drew market to her. Me say, hey, watch you because me say me I a star. I need a so that was the story. But many that lumba shares, you know, and cost as smooth as people think. Me were under him for almost 6 years. Me doing in China 2 months in a truck contract, but it took 6 years for Ofori Amponsah to come out. So I went into the wilderness for 6 good years. But I'm somebody I never give up. All the time, if you any say, you know, I'll just go and sit. Say that lumba and sometimes he'll be in there for 2 straight days, he will not come out. So me try a bana jobe 11:30, 10:30. That's on P, and that's me said that day on P. I'll continue. I'll frequent there every day about 6, and that's my work. I'll just go and sit until I meet him. You know, so. Me call her me opportunity to get closer to him. Na me name say on also or shame, you know. So yeah, quite anymore. If I say 19, so that was 93. I quite say na any that so be any misubi. Obi I do upper 6. You are going to the university. All of a sudden you UAD every school. Your music in inside way, you know. Any day, and bar wanting. The unfortunate thing that happened is that. That very year, no, you made different school now. And that Luma say, "After you know, on you or Jai production because Ubia in the Bibiama, you know, after Jai production." So that was the beginning of my wilderness. But still, I was friends with him. I'll go to him. Ofori Amponsah, he will call me. So I'll go to his house. So me who said that Luma tade or her, I'll just pick it up. A privilege because I made to Natalia. Not know me saying I know it. He was looking at it, and one day, around 1999, something just like happened to me. If you believe something, you just believe. I just had this faith. Say, my own wilderness in music I check because me recorded with that Lumana Amba out. Another producer found me and said, "Opeso or Boami." Like he recorded brand new songs. I have forgotten even the songs. Brand new songs, powerful songs, and I did it with him. And at that, Babe releasing on radio. The guy got a problem here in Ghana. He was a timber merchant. So when a problem be with the police and everything, he had to run away to Canada. With my music, basically, I didn't hear from him again. You know, I had to go through one trial after another until say 1999. 1999, I just was working with my father that day. You know, things were so tough, so I had to run back to the village to my father's hometown. And my father was advising me. One day, I needed to come and I was recording. I have a recorder and I'm recording. I also can't sing be my dream a bass. Obviously, I'm saying, he said, then I'll pursue life. So I'm person go school still because I feel say, you know, A level no me try, O level me try. I have the grades, so I want to go to school. No, saying then I had now church on. I say, oh, Papa, music. They say how much they did the enemy. Me say, I said then I don't know how bad. For what dream no come my head? That was it, and that was a great thing. And that was the second time I was hearing this because in school Jane told me the same thing, and my dad told me the same thing. So I told myself, in 1999, I'll come out. I did my demo. You can say despite recording studios. You can say Peace FM. At that time they were bringing up Peace FM. So that's where I recorded my songs and theater, Dom Refi, and all the songs. So that lumba came from abroad, and Oba and despite catching, say, hey, Oba na saya bahabe, we so powerful, come and listen. Ura studio hono oti he had no choice but to sing. It will be a free airport to buy our brand. He had to sing on a song. The following day, I went there to hear that lumba to. So that was how we reconnected, and you know the songs finally came out. Odom Refi, Jimmy. That was my first ever song that I wrote, and then and theater. So that was the album I made that lumba. What was it? It was still a powerful album. It was a powerful album, and the songs now was the songs. Shemi Bobby. It was the same thing. Nothing changed. The same words, the same instrumentation. The only difference, and I think they improved a bit with recording in Bodos and Germany. We recorded it in Germany, so that was the only difference. But we did a very good job here, even in Ghana. Like there were times I listened to the demo, and it was quite impressive. Yeah. You know, when I think despite the influence now, despite about this song. Sometimes me too and theater I can say ahano and theater me waro babano ne when come on repeat it say in a bon ade be able like so he will say it like repeat it. So I think say he was because every day I was recording, he was in the studio listening to it. So I think say his influence was also very powerful at that time. And you buy I think say the first day on which Red sold about I think say 80,000 copies for the day. So it was a very impressive. Almost 80,000 the following day, not just a giant count crowd, you know. So it was instant hit, and within if I say a month, and they can be about 300,000 copies. So it was instant. Yeah. The only thing what that album, which in a year documentary 20 years of these songs, and they said there was a bit of contracts and changes and stuff, because when you didn't buy, the idea was Ofori Amponsah, that Lumba introducing Ofori Amponsah. Something that that time no crowd wouldn't say harm me, because I felt that I was hiding behind this thing. Maybe the originator and the writer and I produced most of the songs, and he was the executive producer. What I say? Because I had to pay for the recordings and everything before I was taking it up to Germany. So I had everything done with my own money, with everything. So in the pictures now you try for the album, and yes, said the not me expectation, because I thought that this was my first album, was my music, all the 7 songs, and I said on it. It was 9 songs, yeah. So 9 songs, 7 songs were mine. And so when it comes to something I quite to say, me feel say, me and no to cry and man make my own first album was this problem. I loved working with that Lumba, a great artist, one of the best. I salute him. But music be it's like your own. You cannot run away from it. That one, he even knows. Say, when you do music, not music in here, you just hold on to it. It's like wawuba. You can't let it go. So that time, that was the only thing Emma made me cast me. Then I'll just like do a solo career. Like I'll just try to go on solo. So and only the thing as a young man, I wanted to be seen. I wanted people to know, say, hey, Ofori Amponsah natural. I wanted people to also recognize me. So, and that number is the greatest when it comes to. You can't be behind the greatest and pop up. So I had to just divert and find my own way. So I think that Emma, maybe it was youthful exuberance. I wanted to also come out, for people to know, say this or that. Yeah. Still, no. Now, and Kofokra say I'm also on the album. They thought say I was featuring that Lumba. They thought say that Lumba na nyum and I me bet to be. That wasn't the case at all. It was Ofori Amponsah album, and maybe that did Lumba feature on. That should have been the whole thing. But all the same, me and Menshada I'm fighting over all these things, because in the sense say Bibia a positive influence, and it had it gave me an exposure when songs and by, and I think say the song I'm for who said there was somebody else singing was she no day she na wana da mi o day and mami sungu mi mo. And so now welcome on stage Mr. Ofori. I think that singing was my biggest breakthrough, because all the songs Shemi Bonnie and Adinyanano, it was me alone singing, but people thought it was that Lumba. People thought it was that Lumba singing. So I think say idea ohochere Edinburgh, meaning especially that song, you kind of say song in the title to say cry. And I wanna da mu Emma mi sungu mi mo. How my dream change my pin. How do you Mami now so Mama ninkum Isumye Chami sembe mamu bema Diakuma shishenu. So the song was like that song getting a push Ofori Amponsah like more, and that Lumba saying let's welcome on stage Mr. Ofori. Yeah. Then I think that there was a show in the US I call it, and when it comes to the influence that Lumba had on me, especially the album by that time, I got a substantial amount. That time, 40 million was not easy money, yeah.
40 million.
Yeah, if I say 40 million, and calculating in those times, that is me who do about $30,000 for 40. It was quite big. What I say, But as a young man, the first thing I make quite because Toyota Camry 10 million. That time Toyota Camry was 10 million. So me chika na libefi we will be that Charlie. That's kind of OJ, then I'll call also be the quarter Toyota Camry. I don't catch him say. I don't know man kota sase. I mean, when it comes to the influence, that maybe can you know? Come should say be a dying crack, because I was a kid, I was young, but the influence at a very tender age, I thought about buying plots or building or something. So I thank him so much for that influence on my life. So one day we were sitting down and I said, Ofori, what a plot is there? Okay. So that you can say jacuzzi. Say, okay, start moving to the boys' contest. Funny, but I salute him for that because Obi Amamba out for made that jacuzzi. How would I think? It's the first year, no, because of maybe jacuzzi, man, meaning you because me that me that bathroom can be hanging until he said, then go to the boys' quarters and sleep there. And when I slept at the boys' quarters, I started thinking. And then I didn't really find my better, you know, they ever told me. And I thank him so much for that. It was 2 years. After a day, I kind of say, it took me like 2 years to sit down and then see what I wanted for my life, you know. So we had a show in America at that time, Yakobo, Apollo Theater, one of the biggest theaters in it. So and theater hit Yakobo that time, Apollo Theater in the US, New York. And so after a ball show, I just sat down and I decided, said no, Ofori should go solo, you know. And so that was where I made my decision to, you know, to go solo. Yeah, 2002. But near about how a song, you know, maybe Odomrefi, how it came about and stuff. Okay, so Odomrefi came out of a rehearsal. The first time I did a rehearsal, my sisters were laughing at me. So I actually listened to Kojo. I love Kojo's music, and I loved that Lumba, and I loved Amachidede. But I think I took a cue from Kojo when it comes to Odomrefi. The way he sang, the way he did. I had my own style, but I think Odomrefi came out of the way Kojo does his things. Yeah, and I don't know who Antiata is in the first place, but Odomrefi, it took about, if I say 5 years before I started maybe Antiata, and I was trying to bring another music, another thing, because now Odomrefi is a very different style, but right now the song was moving towards dancing, you know, so I wanted something danceable. And one day I was just walking and that Antiata chorus fell into my spirit. Antiate, I was in a go-go. So I went, I took my recorder and recorded, so the song came out. That was how Antiata never was a person that I knew. Antiata just came out of nowhere into my spirit and I wrote it down. So that's how Antiata came. Yeah. We were in Canada. So Canada, and he told me about a song that he wanted to write called Umochere, but he put it on the album because he liked the song. I said, okay, then let's go into the studio and do it. So I think it's Canada. There was this guy, I've forgotten his name, somebody P something. So we went to the studio in Toronto and then did that song. So after recording like a ball show, and I know then we just said, "So why not go onto the keyboard?" And then yes,